We're very much a part of that family, and we very much hope that you will contribute to today's discussions by commenting in the chat or by raising your hand and making yourself heard in the programming itself. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you're thinking. We want to hear you address our topics today or anything else that might happen to be on your mind. I'm glad we have most of our regular crew back together today. Very excited for that. I'm here with Nina Turner, Emma Jo Morris, and Steve Olikara. Great to see all you guys as we get into today's topics. The big one, frankly, we might spend the entire episode about it because that's what seems to happen when Jeffrey Epstein is the topic of the day. Social media, if you visited it at all this week, you will see that it is flooded with conversations about the release of the Epstein files, which did by and large take place last Friday. 3 million new pages of documents appearing for our perusal. And my big question is the phrase so-and-so person X is in the Epstein files is now losing all meaning, given that these files, which are not just actual emails between Epstein and people accused of sexual misconduct, but now also just investigative files where reporters and investigators considered tips relating to a whole host of subjects, many of which are not corroborated at all. And I'm starting to feel some concern about the direction this whole thing is taking. I find myself agreeing personally with Donald Trump, actually, and what he has to say about this. Let's play that sod right off the bat, and then I'll get all of your perspectives.
Really time for the country to get onto something else, really. Now that nothing came out about me, other than it was a conspiracy against me, literally, by Epstein and other people. But I think it's time now for the country to maybe get onto something else.
I'll just kick this out to the group. Certainly, there is evidence of some really poor judgment making, maybe more than poor judgment, bad behavior, literally from, for instance, Bill Gates, who is accused of some extremely nasty things as a result of the latest Epstein files. Bad judgment from a number of other people. You know who we have no new information on bad behavior about in any of this? Donald Trump. So if Democrats are still looking for that, then they're still going to be saying, oh, we need the rest of the files to come out. I think it's a nothing burger as far as our political folks are concerned. What say you guys? Someone tell me I'm wrong.
Biggest vindication in this whole thing is Dick Cheney, I think.
Right, not even. But I mean, you joke, but this is my point. He's not in the files because his name doesn't appear in an email that anyone sent to anyone else, which is a meaningless distinction. Like an article I wrote for The Hill is in the Epstein files in that it's in the bibliography of a report that an investigator wrote that has nothing to do with me or nothing to do with Epstein. And that's true of most journalists I know. Like, this is meaningless. This is becoming totally meaningless. And the way people are talking about this online, the global pedophile cabal, there's one person who we have evidence of sexual abuse of minors, and that's Epstein himself. So I'm not seeing it. And in fact, I think it's going into like witch hunt territory very clearly. But people have been screaming at me all day on social media that I'm wrong about that. So what am I wrong about?
We need Chelsea to hit the tape when I think I said, and I think Nina either fought me or agreed. That's why we need these tapes.
It's one or the other.
It's a blur.
Release the two-way tapes.
Sometimes those two things are the same.
Release the two-way file.
Sometimes they overlap. But when Nina either fought me or agreed when I said, I have a feeling that all this is going to do is just muddy a lot of people's water and not serve any, steps towards justice in any way for anybody, but just create a lot of chatter about people either at the periphery, people who crossed paths, people who somehow knew him, or allegations about people who we know were, closer with him, but we don't know how true those allegations are. I mean, there's like crazy, like Bill Gates trying to poison his wife.
Yeah, that is bad. He is bad. Bill Gates.
But we have no verification of that.
We're just walking around
thinking he tried to poison his wife.
Right. It's because importantly, it is not this email that says that he was, seeking treatment for an STD that he got from a Russian prostitute. Like, this is not Not nice stuff
Wasn't
to
going to
discuss
explain back the whole claim.
with ma or grandma, but this claim is made in an email that Epstein sent to himself. So there is no independent, which
Which
is,
is weird, right? That's weird.
I mean, is it the weirdest thing
People
about
do that to
involving Epstein?
memorialize
No, but it is.
It's-
Well, he's trying to blackmail people. He's trying to blackmail people. Like he,
Trying. I mean, I'm sure he
yeah,
probably did over the course
yeah.
of this. I think the point is being missed here. We're worried about, do Democrats gain political ground over this, or whether Republicans lose? That should not be the point. I mean, I know I'm living in a multiverse when I say that. The point is whether or not the wealthiest, or not even wealth, the ruling class here and their escapades healed them from having to confront, you know, shield them from coming before a court, or these women and young girls at the time, and women at the time, from securing justice. I mean, yeah, you having the president say, let's move on. Of course he would say that. You have the FBI, agency saying nothing to see here. We're not investigating anything. So what else is going to happen if the federal government fails to investigate further? If it's not going anywhere, then we have what we have right now. I think this is all manufactured, that there's nothing to see here. There is a lot to see here. There were lives destroyed, and people's lives who are impacted by this, both directly and indirectly, of which you cannot unring the bell. They should be central to this, but instead we're talking about, oh, if the Democrats, hope that this was going to turn into something. Well, they blew it. No,
Well,
this country has failed. This country has failed the young girls and the women, young or not, who are impacted by this, and ruling class people. Once again, there are two types of justices: that for the rest of us, layered with some race, but I put that in the parking lot, and that for ruling class.
And that's why I think we're living in a political moment where there really is a revolt against the elites and the elite class, because you have situations like not only what happened on the island, which was despicable, but also how hard it was for the files to be released. And even now, it's hard to trust exactly what the DOJ is putting out, because they don't have a good track record of building trust with the American people. The DOJ, which is America's chief law enforcement agency, has been struggling to actually follow the law, which was to release all these files by a certain deadline, which they missed. And then they didn't follow the letter of the law in terms of the redactions and protecting the victims. And so whether it was incompetence or them trying to cover things up, it's just created this unease and lack of trust in what they're putting out there. And the final thing I'll say on that is just what needed to happen to even pass the law in the first place. First, you had to have Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie teaming up together, and everyone said that they were crazy, that this thing would never pass. And eventually they did, thanks to a lot of the stories that the victims were sharing. Marjorie Taylor Greene pretty much committed political suicide in supporting this. And so my point is, it's so hard just to get disclosure. And that's partly why the American people, I think, are revolting against the elite class right now.
But I
But
guess that look, I will admit I'm changing my mind on this in real time. I absolutely supported disclosure. I wanted this to pass. I am now, I feel guilty that I didn't better educate myself about what this entailed, because I don't know that it was right to release investigative files that have uncorroborated random reports about people to the like we don't usually do that. It's exactly what Representative Clay Higgins said. He was the one person in the House to vote against this, and he said, yeah, I'm for disclosure, but this is in no other context would the police just release every crazy story they've been told by someone and just put it out there and say, yeah, we didn't verify this. Here you go, deal with
we
it.
talked about that on this show. That was what I was saying when I was saying that we need
Well,
to
you're right, Emma. I'm with you now.
That was what Trump said at the time, why he was like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And then, like, to Nina's point, like, yeah, I agree. Like, and this is again, like, I was all coming back to me, that episode, that Epstein episode that we did, where we were talking about, like, the only point of this, unless you want to unless if you want to say that the point of it wasn't to get Trump, which it obviously was, but if you want to pretend that you had a sincere aim here, then it would be for justice for the victims. But as we've seen, like it seems like Jeffrey Epstein was the only one with the victims, and he is dead.
Right.
But seemed, I mean, that is if we're putting all the stock in. I think where there's smoke, there's fire. He cannot be the only one. And so unless there's going to be a deeper dive, and I understand what you're saying, and
But
but
how
then
much
we
deeper
go
do
on
you
with
want? This is
what we
millions
have.
of
Yeah,
millions of pages.
but when I say deeper dive, I mean unless a governmental entity is going to seek justice for the victims, it's just a whole bunch of papers they let,
But it
or
seems like
files that they
it
let
seems like he
loose.
was obviously like a pathological, like what it appears is based on everything that we've seen, and I just wanted the audience to know this is all against my will. Everything that I know about this is against my will, but he seems to be a sex addict of some sort, and he seems to be obsessed with sleeping with like very young women, and this seems to be his thing.
And girls,
Insatiable, and that was the thing. And I don't know, like, I mean, have we seen, I mean, other than I'm not allowed to call him Prince Andrew. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Is there anybody else who has been implicated in sexual activity with young girls or minors?
There
my
are other people who reached settlements with Epstein victims, and those names are part of settlements and have been
I
redacted.
just mean to say it's not like there was 65 guys here that we're trying to nail
Right.
down and Epstein just died and he was the fall guy and now we're trying to make it go away. Like that doesn't seem to be the case, actually.
Right.
It seems that he was the one just with this obsession.
I mean, it goes the other way too, because it's
no,
not just about it's Democrats too. Like MAGA initially wanted to make this all about the Clintons. There's nothing about the Clintons in here either, and James Comer wants them to testify, and I'm kind of like, why? At one point, will you concede this is a witch hunt against your political enemy? Like there is nothing to see here regarding all the most salient political actors. There's
Well, I think that that's
embarrassing stuff
exactly,
for,
I think that's
I bet,
actually
I bet there's
ironically
a lot
exactly
to
the
see
point that
here
Trump
that
is
might.
making. Trump is
There's a
saying,
lot to.
like, guys, let's move on. This is just a political circus.
no.
Let's move on. There's nothing there. It's just you're obsessing over it. And I think that
They're not.
the best and funniest part of this is the email that came out today. I don't know if anyone's seen the new email that's been circulating today where somebody says, "Hey, let's go to chill in Tel Aviv." And he goes, "No, I hate Israel."
I think that could have meant that he hates the weather. I don't know if he hates.
He
I
hates,
think they think he
he's
was in it.
going.
But no, Emma Jo, he said that to provide cover because he's deep Mossad.
Right.
See?
Right,
You were
exactly. That was
fooled by the
throw
cover
us
story.
off in the future.
So
It's just so. Go ahead,
just
Steve. Go ahead,
what
Steve.
explains Trump's reversal on this issue? I
Exacerbated.
think there are a number of behaviors of key people in power that you watch and say something is going on here. And to Robby and Emma Jo, your points, it's possible that there isn't more criminal activity we find in these files. But to Nina's point, where there's smoke, there's fire too. So I think when the American public just sees, wait, releasing the Epstein files was something that helped propel Donald Trump's candidacy for president, and then he flips 180 degrees on it. What explains it? Is it because he saw the files himself and he saw that there's nothing more to see? That would be the most charitable view towards him.
Yeah, I think he
That's probably true.
and he never cared that much about it. Other people in MAGA thought that this was going to prove that all these top Democrats were part of a ring of pedophiles, and there's no evidence of that. And then Democrats adopted it because they're wait, Trump knew Epstein though. Maybe there's he's actually the global pedophile person, and there's no evidence of that either. And now I honestly think it's just very misinformed people pushing something that is like a total conspiracy theory at this point, that there was this all these people getting together engaging in child rape, which there's no evidence of, none, except for the one guy.
I think the biggest thing we learned is the word goyim.
Oh, I resent learning what that means. That it has been a big week for that. That's how Jews refer to us non-Jews, and now anti-Jew
It's a certain
people.
time and a certain culture and a certain episode that we're not in right now.
Yeah.
I guess the harms to the victims just don't matter. I mean, that's pretty much what this distills down to. If there's no got you for a mainline Democrat or a got you for a mainline Republican, then just the hell with the women and the girls at the time who were transgressed. Just the hell with them. I mean,
But
basically,
I
this
don't
is
think
what this
it's
is
to
coming
hell.
down to.
It's the purpose
No,
dead,
it's the hell
and
with
then
them.
the accomplice is in the MTC right here,
Well, first of all,
and her name is US.
she's negotiating and getting special treatment and all kinds of things that she should
He's in
not
a
be getting.
pretty bad place.
But
I don't
still, I
know how
mean,
to
he moved her. They had conversations with her. She thinks she has a way out, a way up, way out. Whatever. I mean, but meanwhile, lives have been destroyed, and these men, and if there are other women other than her, they sitting up there giving a sigh of relief because they know that they're going to be protected from this. Just
I
because
just
all of this stuff is not explicitly in the files does not mean that there are other people involved in
I
rape of women and young girls. Doesn't mean it.
Well, okay, but we can't disprove a negative, right? It's not, the burden is on the person who makes a
Well, I
strong
understand.
claim
I,
to,
I
and
understand that.
I get impatient when I'm told bombshell, sensational, you'll be horrified by what you learn if we can
They
get
redacted a
billions
lot,
of
didn't they, Robbie?
pages of information out there, and then they do, and it's like, oh, that's what we already knew, though.
Didn't they redact a lot though?
I mean,
There's
there
a
was
lot that
the
we're
redactions
never
are
gonna
so
know.
sloppy. They had to scramble to pull down like thousands of
Right.
documents because they accidentally didn't redact like serious stuff, like minors.
Yeah.
Oh, woe is the Department of
I don't
you know
believe that
what?
they're competent enough to go through and start figuring out whose skin butt they're covering. I don't think that
I mean,
they've
there's so
been
many pages,
at
it
this
might
at
be
all.
literally impossible to do that. I mean, these are
Well, that's what I'm
PDFs.
saying.
This
Like,
is
there's
not,
no way that that level of competence exists at the DOJ. I don't believe it, and we've seen that that doesn't exist. Yes, several
Well,
thousand documents of Epstein files that accidentally identified victims.
I mean, like on social media yesterday or the day before, right? I saw this image going around that was released from the Epstein files. That it's this guy who was an Epstein associate, Glenn Dubin, who's, he's a cretin. I have no idea. But there's these kids on his lap, and everyone's saying like, "Oh my God, here's more victims," and they're black boxes over their faces. Well, it takes about 10 seconds of Googling to figure out those are his kids. It's not. It's like, that's at a level of moral. It's uninformed. But maybe could be barking up the wrong tree here. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of viewer interest in this subject after all today, so we'll move on to something else unless anybody has more to add on it. If not, let's talk about Trump saying elections should be nationalized. How do we feel about that?
And did he ever go into more detail on that? Because I tried looking this up. It's hard to really evaluate. Of course, I mean, this is already in the Constitution that states determine the manner and place and time of elections. There have been certainly things over the years that provide oversight on elections, but I don't think he's quite gotten into the details other than to say for the blue states or the states that I lose, then we should take the elections over.
I mean, can we admit it would be better if the federal government did run elections because we're the only advanced nation in the world that for some reason can't automatically do same-day vote counting in the swing states? I don't understand why Pennsylvania can't, unless it's not close, then they know. But if it's close, they don't know. We're the only country like that. I think it'd be better if the federal government did it. I mean, that's contrary to what the Constitution says, so it's not going to be that way, I don't think, no matter how badly Trump wants it. But I'm certainly not happy about the jobs specific individual states do. I'm old enough, as are I think all of you lovely people, to remember the debacle that was Florida in the year 2000. If ever a state
Barely. I'd like to
should
say
lose.
I'm barely old enough.
was that the Chad, the hanging
The
Chad,
hanging Chad.
the
Yes,
hanging Chad?
yes. And that one's not even the most offensive. It's the butterfly ballot is the worst one. I don't know if you
Oh,
go back, Google
okay.
butterfly ballot, go back and look. That's somebody made a ballot this way where 4 out of 5 people are going to accidentally vote for what's his face as a result of that, and not
I think I kind of remember
Pat
that.
Buchanan.
Yeah.
I just don't really understand how it's funny. You're actually surprising me with this take. Like how please explain to me, libertarian. How would the federal government be more efficient?
Taxes are illegitimate. Federal government shouldn't exist. No federal
Yeah,
government.
exactly.
50 different
How
states.
is this
All
illegitimate
there should be no
institution be
federal
more
government.
efficient?
And in conclusion, legalize heroin.
God, dog it.
I mean, I
I
get what
wasn't
you're saying,
expecting all
Rob.
that today, Robbie.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're saying
I'm
like
in a feisty mood today.
you're saying hypothetically that if there's actually standardized processes across all 50 states, it could be done more efficiently. I mean, I see that.
That's a good
Yeah.
point. That's a better point.
I don't like
Yeah.
But I do think,
Pennsylvania to get their SHIT together.
yes, yes. But I do think, I've been active in a lot of the anti-gerrymandering and fair elections work over the last 10 years, and I'll often run into hyper-partisans, Democrats who want to gerrymander more in their favor, Republicans want to rig the system more in their favor, and I really try and understand where they're coming from. And basically, the mindset is like, our side is better than yours, and we think America's better than we win, and so we're going to change the rules, gerrymander, rig the system, whatever it is, so that we win and you lose. And that's sort of the mindset that I think Trump is channeling. It's not about fairness. It's not about principles. It's not about constitutionality. It's just that he thinks America's better when his side wins. And we got to do what it takes for that to happen.
So true.
Yep.
I mean, and
Bingo.
I'll say this on the record as someone who was very against Democrats who were gerrymandering California. So I've been consistent
I
on.
was too, Stephen. Me too, baby.
Yeah, Nina did get very upset about that.
Oh yeah, I
Unfair.
battle with that governor as often as possible.
Yeah.
Okay, as often as possible. He's a hypocrite. But anyway,
Trump.
Can I-
Go ahead.
I mean, this is totally off subject, but I just want to thank Tom. I think Tom Smith in there. It was a comment, so he'll know what I'm talking about. But I appreciate that.
I don't have
Okay, go ahead, Rob.
up today. What was I saying? Trump made some remarks today about having won the 2020 election, and if the federal government just handled it, it would have been clearer that he would have won the popular vote and the whole
Proving
thing.
Stephen's
He
point.
cannot let that one go.
He will not let it go.
You can't let it go.
Republicans really wish he would, because nobody in the Trump coalition likes talking about that except Trump. And Trump loves to talk about it.
It's
Usually,
ridiculous.
in many ways, Trump has, I think you can argue on certain issues, good political instincts or better political instincts than so many others in his party. That is just not one of them.
Speak for yourself. I don't know if you
Go
see the
ahead.
polling, but like tons of people are like, yeah, it was rigged, whatever. Like, like if you talk to like the real, like this is just very like we're having a conversation here. I'm not on a CNN panel, I'm speaking among my pals.
Yeah.
So if you like talk to like just like legit MAGA, like, and you're just like, was the 2020 election stolen? They're just like, yeah, like obviously. And like when you ask how, like
The hardcore base, yes.
it's vibes, but if you think about it as an honest human being, if you like, especially like, my Democrats here and perhaps my libertarian too, like guys, like just like really like isolate yourself one day, like physically isolate yourself, detach yourself from your phone, detach yourself from everything outside of the room that you're currently standing in at that moment, and think about, did Joe Biden win 2020? You'll feel the answer.
Well, that's not how we count the votes.
The answer will come to you, and you will know what it is.
No.
And you won't tell anyone, and I don't need you to, but you will.
Really, Imogen. What is that? I just
right.
What's that Bill Maher
that-
segment? I don't know that it's true, but it feels like it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
know
one of
what?
those things. Life has those things.
That is his truth, and that is a beautiful thing.
Life
But
has those things.
swing voters do not like that topic at all, and it would be better if he would stay away from it. And that one, unlike has no policy stakes because we're not going to go back and
Yeah,
undo
exactly.
it.
There's no stakes. It's just obviously Joe Biden lost 2020. Come on.
Oh my lordy.
That's your vibe.
Oh my lordy. I mean, rampant voter fraud. I mean, this thing has been researched and investigated over and over again, and there is no evidence, absolutely no shred of evidence that there was rampant voter fraud during the 2020 presidential election. Only in the president's mind and some of his followers do they believe that. Now, what is the value? I mean, there was a study done that you have a greater chance to be struck by lightning than people participating in voter fraud. It's not like me robbing a bank where I know that would be money.
I definitely think there's voter fraud. The issue is the idea that there's voter fraud and it only goes in one direction, and is the part where
it's worth. Don't we have state law, right? We have state laws in place that if you are caught trying to defraud, vote wrong, steal somebody's identity while you're voting, there are penalties, fines, jail time, all of that.
Well, I got great news for you, Nina. Republicans want to get even more serious about this and pass the SAVE Act and be even more certain everyone voting is good to do so. And like 75% of people are in favor of that. Seems good to me.
Yeah, because it's propaganda. They've been amped up.
By the way. Across all demographics
to believe that this. So I wish that they would put as much effort into increasing the federal minimum wage, Medicare for all. You guys already know the list. I wish he would put as much effort into that as they do into ginning up people to make them think that this is such a problem to such a degree that Uncle Sam must get involved. What happened to smaller government?
Oh, now we're doing smaller government.
What happened to that?
We're doing smaller government in the
process
for
Ron Paul all of a sudden?
For if you're eligible to make the determination for what the policies of the government will be. That's where we bring in small government. No, I don't agree with that.
Oh, rampant. We have Michael Crosses ready. Hand up.
Oh, we do have a hand. Okay.
We do.
Yeah. Let's bring him in. It's Mitchell.
Mitchell. I'm sorry, Mitchell.
There you are.
Hello.
How you doing?
Jesus. Sorry, brother.
Doing great. I actually wanted to talk a little bit about the SAVE Act fight, which my question really is more about the optics component of it, because I do support the voter ID requirement, and in Arizona we do have a voter ID requirement here, but my question is really about like Chuck Schumer and his response on being asked about it, because he was asked earlier, I think it was earlier today, about 71% of Democrats support some kind of voter ID requirement, and his response to that question was that it's Jim Crow 2.0. And I'm just looking at it from the perspective of, like, my job just switched vendors for some of its tax documents, and so we're having to redo our I-9 forms, and we have to provide all the same documents that they're requiring for the SAVE Act. And I mean, if it's a requirement for us to work, why can't it be a requirement to vote? Like half my team's African American and nobody's having any problems with the I-9 part. Why is this suddenly like a Jim Crow thing?
By the way, this is an 80-20 issue among all demographics, race demographics included. Black population is totally in favor of voter ID. Hispanic population totally in favor of voter ID. This isn't a race or controversial topic. Only elected Democrats try to bait people and freak people out that way. It's not true.
He's wrong, Mitchell. I mean, I want him to go. He needs to go. And any comparison, no way is this Jim Crow 2.0. I mean, how dare? First of all, that's an insult to the Black community. Really, a total insult to what my foreparents, many still walking this earth, had to go through in Jim Crow. So the nerve of him, he doesn't even understand. They just throw that stuff out there, and they try to use the history of Black Americans who are descendants of enslaved people always in matters like this, but they really don't give a damn. They don't really care. They're just using it. And so to use a pain point of this magnitude that is directly a pain point for Black Americans who are descendants of enslaved people is a slap in the face. And Senator Schumer, he needs to go, but he owes my community an apology because he's wrong all day long on this. He doesn't care. And it's ridiculous. They would never use any other group like this, the way that some of those Democrats like him, like Leader Jeffries and some others, use the Black community when it's convenient for them. But they're not going to dive in there and do anything to help the Black community in a real substantive way. So I did not know that he said that. I want him to go anyway. You just put him all the way up on the list. For me, he needs to go. He's out of touch. It's just like when they wore them kente cloths. Mitchell, you remember that? I don't know if you remember. They took the knee and they had the little kente cloths around them. Go look that up. I mean, it was ridiculous. So that's how I feel about this. Shame on him for doing that. And especially in Black History Month, too. I'm really. Do you know what? Emma Joe, and Steven, and Robby, okay, and two-way audience. Yeah, it's that time. It's that time.
Well, I agree with all of that. Schumer needs to go. And this is something I want to put out into the ether, that he should be replaced with someone from the middle of the country, not the West Coast, not the East Coast, ideally someone from the Midwest, somewhere in the middle of the country. That's what we need. We don't need a coastal Democratic Party. We need a cross-cutting Democratic Party that includes the Midwest.
Amen to that. Midwest.
Okay, what is the reason that Democrats do oppose generally new voter ID require? Is that because they're just afraid for that's going to result in less turnout among their own base, which, by the way, I'm not sure is even true anymore now that Democrats seem to have the more, in some sense, committed, or I think even like affluent or dedicated to showing up or have more time on their hands constituency than Republicans seem to have. I think a lot of our conceptions about who is the voting coalition for each party have like very much reversed themselves. But is it just that fear that it's going to stop the base from voting, or what is the argument?
I really don't know. I mean, there was a time in this country history, obviously, that Black people, especially, not exclusively, but especially, there was a certain generation that did not have IDs. I mean, we know this. This did not have, and we didn't always have voter ID in the United States of America, too. I would argue that the more diverse the country became, the more voter ID became a thing, but I'll put that in the parking lot. I can't even tell you. If there are some legitimate concerns, then let's have the debate. And I'm not saying that there aren't some legitimate concerns, but by and large, I do not believe that most mainline or neoliberal Democrats or Democrats in the position of a Schumer really, really care if, in fact, it is a real concern, and how will we solve for that concern. I mean, there's some points about the SAVE Act, and maybe my colleagues here who read it a little more deeply, that women, for example, who get married and they haven't, the name change, and whether or not, if to get the ID, or the stricter it becomes, if I have to prove my maiden name and my married name, does that put up another barrier for me as a married woman? Are there some concerns like that? Are there some concerns for rural folks who are of an older generation and not necessarily African American, where people may not have the requisite records to prove that they are who they are? Now, I know that generation is older. I know a lot of that generation has died out, but there's a period of time where some of those concerns are legitimate. I say let's have the debate about the legitimate concerns. Let's decide what
that was true.
IDs.
Yeah, I think that was true in the past. I think now the only people who are legal citizens who don't have ID are like young people who don't know how to DoorDash a new ID when it expires or whatever. Like they don't know what the DMV is, or
are you impugning the skill sets?
Yes. I'm thinking of the people I know who have not renewed their IDs.
Your ageism is showing, Robby.
Well, my ageism is usually directed against older people, so here I'm going to bash. I'm going to bash my own.
Your equal opportunity, huh?
We have some hands. Let's get somebody else on up here. Tom, I believe. Tom, hello, sir. How are you, and what's on your mind? You're still muted.
You're muted, Tom.
Sir, you there? Still working on the.
There we go.
There you go. Nope, still muted.
No, still muted.
You're muted, Tom. All right,
So.
we'll bring you back when. Okay, we've got somebody else.
We had him.
Ryan.
We had him. Tom? He's unmuted, but we still can't hear him.
No audio.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear you.
We got
Yeah.
you.
All right. I didn't get a chance to raise my hand when we were talking about the Epstein files. Robby, I've got to challenge you on your recent article about our regrets with respect to the Epstein files. I don't know. Can anybody tell me the last time Congress passed a bill with such bipartisan support? And you know, I've said this recently. We used to live by, I don't know. Anyways, I was taught as a kid. I thought American values were around the idea of you associate yourself with somebody who's doing things that are bad. Let's just say bad. Guilt by association is a thing, and we have countless people in the top 1% that you can go down the list. There's a great resource called Jmail that if for folks in the audience, if you haven't taken a look, if you've got the stomach to actually look into this stuff that these people were saying to each other after the fact, that he was already found guilty in 2009. This goes 2010 up to almost present day. It's just astonishingly cruel. This is far worse to me than the Catholic Church. We have governments across the globe that were essentially allowing these people without any challenge. People need to be held accountable, and it's not happening here in the United States. We're hearing it in Europe. They've raided the offices of Elon Musk. I mean, the fact that we can't even get Elon Musk to stop Grok from creating artificial CSAM, it's just so troubling to me as a parent of two young children that they're growing up in a world that we're how can it be regrettable that we're exposing people that are doing just even if it's words, the depravity is just unbelievable. Please comment on that.
Well, I mean, I do not accept at all that it's worse than the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church involves hundreds, thousands of victims and perpetrators of the most horrific sexual crimes you can possibly imagine.
And that wasn't exposed in this. There's 1,200 victims that we know of that Marjorie Taylor Greene, Ro Khanna, and Mr. Massey are all supporting.
They are accusers who got settlements. I can't automatically accept that as proven, in the same sense that obviously Epstein's case is proven because it went to court. Most of what is coming out of these files, you say depravity, and I agree with you. I think it's humiliating for these people. I don't think we should ever listen to Bill Gates again. I think he should not be a public figure. I think that's true of Stacey Plaskett and Noam Chomsky and Steve Bannon and a lot of people who, for some reason, continue to email with him and communicate with him through the late 2010s. And not disagreeing with you at all at the appalling judgment of elite people, but their complicity in the sex crimes is not. I was told this is a cabal of people actually complicit in that Epstein was procuring underage people sex trafficking kids to others. And that is not at all demonstrated by this. And so that is what I'm pushing back on. In the case of,
Really?
well,
I mean, you look at Jean Brunel, I think was the individual. There's literally emails between the two of them that are discussing women and Epstein procuring passports for these people, whether or not it was just for himself or for other depraved individuals that are in the top class of our country and our world. It's insane that we're just throwing this away as if it's something that shouldn't be investigated. Todd Blanche, the deputy AG, is telling us that it's not a crime to party with Epstein. I'm sorry, if there were underage children at these parties and you saw that, that is a crime.
Yeah, I mean, we just disagree. Fundamental disagreement. Again, which is not to say that, there's nothing that happened that's bad. It's very bad, but it mostly involves Jeffrey Epstein. And I think I'm more skeptical of some of the accusers who have come forward, but I've said that before. Anybody else? Hands up.
I mean, Ryan's point is well taken. I mean, I understand exactly what he's saying. And I think it falls into something that I was saying earlier, which is if our level of morality or concern or care about what was going on that island, who knew about it, who sat back and kept their mouths closed because they didn't want to lose positioning, it's not just who participated physically and mentally, but who just sat back and said, I want to be invited to the Christmas party, so I'm not going to say anything. His point is that could be anybody's children that was taken advantage in that way, or women who were even older, but they were taken advantage of. Is this how we rolling? I mean, it just seems like this population of girls at the time and women are just throwaways because it's ruling class people who did it and not just your average regular working class person who did it. There are two sets of rules in the United States of America, as I said. And if I take out race, two sets. One for the ruling class and one for everybody else. So Ryan, I'm with you, brother.
Well, I older women, again, the comparison to the Catholic Church when we're talking about
maybe that. I mean, the Catholic Church,
adult women,
they're both bad.
Engaged in call girl behavior with rich people. I am a libertarian. And
were they call girls?
I don't care whatsoever.
Were they call girls?
Think it should be
Robbie.
I could not.
Were they call girls? I mean, there are professionals who do this kind of work. So I'm with you on that.
You don't need a license to do it.
you hiring a professional, that's different. But if you are using your position and your status to take advantage of somebody, then that is wrong. Period. So I can't believe you think that all the grown women were call girls, huh? Were they call girls?
I don't think they were taken advantage of. No.
Oh Lord Jesus, have mercy. You know what? I'm calling on Black Jesus. Stephen, that's the one I call on when I need something.
I think that's stripping people of their own agency and responsibility for the choices.
Really?
Yes.
Really? So Monica Lewinsky was a call girl.
Monica Lewinsky was the scandal of that is that she worked for him, and so it was improper. But Democrats,
but you understand what I'm saying. She was grown by legal standards. She was grown by legal standards. She wasn't
sexually assaulted, and she's an adult.
But can people be manipulated and taken advantage of and fawning over status?
She made her choice. Did she make a choice? Any tears for her whatsoever.
Robbie, did she make a choice? Why did she have to go underground?
Because she got mocked and ridiculed in the aftermath.
Exactly, Emma. By a whole bunch of Democrats too, by the way.
She's no victim. Juanita Broderick is a victim because she was raped. Hardcore, unapologetic, raped by Bill Clinton.
No doubt.
Who remained in good standing with Democrats for years after. She is a victim. Monica Lewinsky, not a victim in my book at all.
In your book. You don't even know what she had to go through. You don't even know how you label it. Yeah, flat out rape is a whole nother level here. All I'm saying is that people can be manipulated and seduced by power.
People can
and
also
just
see an
But
opportunity
I can't
in
call
a
for
are
prosecutions
powerful,
on that
groupies
basis.
victims.
with a
Mitchell,
powerful
not no
partner.
groupies are not necessarily, especially sports groupies. That's a whole business.
Yeah, so
So
you don't think that powerful men have groupies that are by their own volition and they're
yeah,
with
maybe
no
some,
agency?
but in some of these cases, they're taking advantage of people.
Well,
Yeah.
and
So
if it's
Some cases,
kids,
they're
that's
also like,
illegal
maybe
and
if
should
I
be
hang with
vigorously
this guy, my life
prosecuted.
will improve.
But I was
I
led to
mean,
believe it was all children, and then we find out that a lot of these women were they were in
I'm
their
not saying
20s, and I'm
all of
like,
the
well,
women. I'm not saying every grown woman was manipulated. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying is that we should leave some room for that to be a possibility. They all weren't groupies. Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
who else we
Anyway,
got?
we got a whole bunch of hands up,
Yeah,
Robbie.
uh, production. Oh, we got Tom back. You want to try again,
Tom.
sir? No, we can't hear you.
I think it's an audio input
It
thing.
It's
is.
frustrating. Who else we got?
Tom, maybe type in the chat.
That
We'll catch it
Colleen.
there.
Yeah, we got Colleen.
Thank you for being with us.
Hi guys, how are
Hi,
you?
hello.
Hello.
I've actually wanted to talk about Iran and what you guys think of the imminent, what seems like an imminent planning going on for an attack on Iran, which I know, Robbie, you're probably not that supportive of any foreign involvement, but I must admit, I mean, I think it would be a huge win for the globe, for the region, for the United States if we and Israel could pull off.
Oh, we're losing you, Colleen, but I think we've lost you now, unfortunately.
Iran?
Iran, we are gearing up for a potential attack. Look, I'll say that I was very worried about World War III breaking out when the nuclear capabilities were hit a couple months ago, and obviously that didn't happen. So maybe that means I'm supposed to shut up and trust the administration, trust the plan, not be a panic
The
can.
plan.
Well, what do you think, Emma Joe? You're probably
I trust the plan.
you're like
I
bomb Iran. Isn't that
No,
what?
not bomb Iran at all, actually. That's very much not my impulse. I don't think that's the impulse of most people in MAGA. However, given the past year, and just just 100% W's, like it's just been W after W after W, that I'm actually almost sick of all the winning. That I'm just trusting the plan. There have been so many times when I've been like, oh no, and I've been like sometimes privately, I also sometimes have to go into a room, close the door, and not tell anybody what I'm thinking. And sometimes I'm a little bit panicky in that room, but I've been wrong. So now I'm realizing my foreign policy instinct maybe isn't as good as Trump's, or at least I don't know the capabilities of the US military, and he definitely does. And I mean, we kidnapped, we straight up kidnapped the leader of a country and just W. So I'm not too concerned about it.
Well, we
I
left
trust your leader.
his girl in charge.
Oh,
I don't know how
good
to say
God.
that. If we're gonna do some intervention, let's do it right. Let's do
But
the
the
whole
thing was,
thing.
it was like kind of half a regime change. It was like regime change enough to make the
Yes.
regime chill.
I see you shaking your head at us, Nina.
No, I'm very disturbed. I'm gonna let Stephen go on to handle this. I'm disturbed by the whole thing.
Well, first, you look at the scale of the killings in Iran. That's something that should shock the conscience of everyone on this planet. And I do think there needs to be a response, but that needs to be done in a coordinated way, one where you're rallying the international community. I'm not as supportive of US just sort of going it alone, because our track record has been that we often don't think about day after consequences. I do validate Emma, Joe, and Robbie what you've both said about some of, for example, the taking out of the nuclear capacity of Iran did not cascade into something much messier. So that definitely needs to be taken into account here. So I hope if they do something, it's really well thought out. But Iran is an extremely complex country. It's one thing to bomb a nuclear facility that's in the middle of nowhere. It's a very different thing to get involved militarily in a city center like Tehran. And so that is going to be many orders of magnitude more complicated.
The thing that's, I just want to actually, sorry, I'm just thinking about this while we're talking, and I agree with you, Stephen. But again, like I think our recon is probably good enough to know that. But and one thing that I'm thinking about, and I actually have a really good friend who's from Iran and left during the Iran-Iraq War to come here. And she has explained to me, and I have no reason to not believe this, that you have the Ayatollah, and he is very religious, obviously, and there is some focus on religion among the other people in government that are under him. But for the most part, there isn't a real secular opposition in the way that the U.S. and perhaps Israel fantasizes that there is. You're going to take out, it's going to be actually quite, I think, if they do anything,
That's
end up being very similar to, it'll be similar to Venezuela in that the people under there, it's the same vibe. And what you can do, which I think is again what we've done in Venezuela, which is fine. I don't live in Iran, so I don't really care who runs it. I care that we are able to pursue our interests, and what ends up happening is you scare the you scare the lights out of out of them, and you have them cooperate by force with you, because of the threat of, like, there's this sword of Damocles kind of hanging over them whenever they're kind of try to threaten to nuke people.
uh,
So that's how this really works. It's
We're
not
the
like
only
you're
nation
gonna
that's
have
ever dropped a nuclear
democracy.
weapon.
Colleen,
You
you want to finish your
Yeah.
point, and then
I was just saying that I think Iran is important for the whole globe. If they destabilized and took out that regime and were successful, which hopefully between the US and Israel, they could do a clean, good Venezuela style operation. They support terrorists around the globe also. Iran is a major supporter and supplier to all the terrorists around the globe. And it would, like everyone's saying, the Gulf nations are saying publicly, no, we don't want the US to do it. But behind the scenes, to all the other diplomats, they're saying, please do it. So no one would be, and the people of Iran have suffered so much. I mean, I think I hope they can do it successfully like they have with the last attack on Iran and on Venezuela.
yeah,
know,
certainly
they,
not a lack
I
of.
mean, I'm not
I mean, I feel you.
the-
You hear of the level of execution they carried out and will carry out of dissidents, and it's horrifying, and it pulls at your heartstrings and maybe creates some duty to do something. I'm not naive to that. I'm not ignoring that, but we have to consider first and foremost our own national interests, and we should consider the mistakes we have made in thinking that it'll be quick and easy in the Middle East in particular, more so than the Venezuela situation, our past interventions there, and how well that has gone, and how much we've liked the new governments that have arisen, and how we feel about that. And
exactly. So I think
cognizant.
what it is when we're having this conversation, what is it? It is picking out figurehead, having another figurehead like there that is really chosen by their people, and you don't regime change. That's the thing is
Right.
that's the thing that he does. That's kind of a trick. Is it's not regime change. That is the wrong word. What we did in Iraq was regime change, where we did a de-Baathification, if anybody has a long memory to remember that phrase, where we went through all of the ranks. We went through all of the ranks of the military, went through all the ranks of the government, of the universities, and we took out all of the Baathists of every single position of anything that mattered. That was regime change, was ripping the regime out, like really from the root. That is not what we did in Venezuela. That woman in Venezuela is is the vice president from always. We didn't do a de-Baathification there. We plucked off the top and said, "This is to freak you out. Now, please cooperate with us, or we'll do it just to the next one." And that's exactly what they would do in Iran. In Iran, there is no legitimate opposition there. There's no opposition that has any respect, it seems, from the population. And it isn't necessarily whatever the way I think the way we perceive it is a little warped, and what they'll end up doing, given that I hope they know that, I think that they do, is that they're just gonna again take like exactly what they did in Venezuela is the right move, where they take off the leader, put in a new leader, and that leader has enough wherewithal to think that he wants to kind of stay there or not be dead, so he is cooperative.
So the military action is just remove the Ayatollah. That's what's on the
That's what,
table.
yeah, that's what I think that this is going to be, and it's going to have this like great like PR effect. If we beat the Ayatollah finally, hooray! It's gonna still gonna be IRGC. IRGC is who's it. That's it. You get IRGC.
It's naive to think that there's not going to be some collateral damage here. We are the only nation to drop a nuclear weapon on anybody. The only one. The only one. So we get to be the police of the entire world. I mean, of course, the brutality of that government, I'm not here to defend that government at all, or its brutality at all. We have problems here that need to be solved domestically. Domestic tranquility is a thing. We got ICE agents shooting Americans in the head, overriding their constitutional rights, namely the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, rights in this country. So before we go looking to clean somebody else's house, we need to clean our own house right here in the United States of America. You want to talk about protesters over there being off, which is wrong, but you got people who are protesting in this country right now who are being treated and being called domestic terrorists when all they're doing is exercising their First Amendment right. The hypocrisy. Good God, the hypocrisy. And I have people in my circle who have relatives over there. Everybody is not jumping up for joy. It's easy to say, let them do it, because we're not in the center of what could be the fallout of innocent civilians. But we want to police the world. And you know what? We got enough money to do that, because God knows we're not putting the money over here to help the working class people over here in the United States of America.
We're not doing,
but let's just keep feeding the machine.
I don't agree with what the administration has done in Minnesota, but we're not doing summary executions of people.
I'm like, there isn't really a moral.
No, we just do it in a different way. I mean, you ask the Nazis where they learned how to do what they did. They didn't. None of this stuff is foreign. It's called Confederacy. It's called American.
Are you saying you think America taught?
No, they absolutely did. Absolutely did. They learned from the Confederacy.
And then we went and killed them. So we taught them how to do it.
Well, they learned from the US eventually. I would say that, yes.
They learned from the US how to do those diabolical things. So in any case, I'm not rocking and rolling for this at all. Obviously, you guys knew that I was not. I
think
it definitely underscores the point that a lot of the topics we're discussing right now, it's not dealing with affordability. We're not talking about a lot of domestic concerns. And I think it's an interesting strategic choice. I don't know if it's actually a choice or just opportunistic, but the administration is taking on a lot of issues that don't deal with the price that you see at the pump when you're filling gas or when you go to the grocery stores. I've heard that presidents just enjoy foreign policy more. Maybe he just has more fun doing it. I don't know. But we're not talking about some of the core issues domestically.
They can shirk responsibility. Don't look at the man or the woman behind the curtain. Let's just throw a whole bunch of stuff out there. That doesn't mean that there's a lot of tragic things happening in the world. I'm not saying that they're not. There are tragic things happening right here at home. Charity starts at home and spreads abroad. And the absolute nerve.
I think we got time for one more comment from our community members. If you want to bring somebody forward.
Jennifer's been waiting. Oh, all right. Lance it is.
What's on your mind, my friend? Oh, we lost him. Who's up next?
No.
Oh, no, we got him. Okay.
My camera is on.
We can hear you.
But I like my camera to be on. See,
got to make it snappy, my friend. We got to go in a minute.
Okay, so I would prefer not to speak if my camera's not going to come on. Sorry.
That's okay.
Don't worry about
Next time. Yeah.
Who else we got? We got somebody else?
We lost our Jennifer, I think.
Well, then, I guess we're going to just leave it there today. Yeah, it's about time to go anyway. Thanks so much for watching the group chat. Nice chatting with all of my good friends, Stephen, Nina, and Emma Jo, and we'll see you back here next week. Bye-bye.